Hello and how are you? In this section we'll talk about CSS flow property. Flow property is used to specify how an element should float. Take it as just water floating. When water floats, it takes all elements squeezed together. The same way, if we make an element to be float, then following elements will float with an element. So we have to have another mechanism to protect that. We call it clear. Clear is to specify what element should float with the element together. We will see both of them in action. So let's do it. So let's have some paragraph. First one is heading. So let's say float CSS property. Then let's have a paragraph. This paragraph have some image. Then having a source of, as we see here, we have fruit.jpg. So fruits.jpg. Then add text of the fruit pick, and let's close this one. And let's have some paragraph first. So let's simply paste this one. So let's save it. Then here we have text. So if you see now the browser, if you open, which is as the image in this one, so there is no float property. So I want to adjust the image to be at the right side and the text to be on the left side. So in order to make that, I have to make some flow properties. So let's make it. So here we use style tag. Besides that, for the image, I use some width property. Width of 250 pixels. And height of 250 pixels. And margin 10 pixels from all sides. Then floats to the right. So I want to make the text to float to the right side. So if we refresh now, as you see, the image is floated and the text holds the rest of the area. So this is the property of the float. If we add now some property, for example, a paragraph having a border of 1 pixel, solid and gray, for example, and if we refresh it, we see different behaviors. As we see, the box is at the top and the image is outside of the box. In that case, we use the overflow property we see earlier. So overflow, so auto, so we make it auto. So if we refresh now, the image becomes inside the box. So we can adjust also the padding, for example, inside the paragraph. Padding to be some value. I give it 10 pixels. So it looks nice now. So if we add the content, for example, now as we see, the image and the text becomes more. So here it looks like it is like a magazine. So we can also change the float property to left. So the same effect have simply it's transfer it into the left side. The other property value is none. In this case, the old value looks like this. So without float none looks like this one. If there is a float property for the parent element, we can use also inherit property. So inherit, which means since we do not have a float property in the parent or the body part, there is no effect on the change. So that is how we do floats in HTML. In this section, we'll see about CSS clear property. CSS clear property is to define or make elements to stay where it belongs. So when we float elements, the first element floats the following elements to their side. If the first element floats to the right side, all elements below them float to the right side. If it is float to the left, all elements below the first element will float to the left side. So in order to protect that element, we use a clear element. So let's see how we do it. So let's have some heading 1 element and let's have some title, clear property, and let's have div with class name of div1, div1, and the other is div with class name of div2. Now let's add some styles. So for .div1, we add the width of 200 pixel, so border of 1 pixel, solid with green color, and background color of tomato, and height of 100 pixel. The same for .div2, we add some properties such as the height to be 100 pixel, border to be 2 pixel, solid and black. Then it's enough for now. So let's open the file. So when we see the file, it is in normal flow position. So there is no floating point added. So both elements float normal. Now if we add for the first element flow property to, for example, left, div2 follows the float element of div1. So if we refresh this one, as we see, div2 is above div1. In order to see this, let's make, for example, the border to 20 pixel, and you will see it. So as we see, it is on the top of div1. So div2 is floating to the left side of div1. So in order to protect that, we have to add a property called clear property inside div2. So clear, then we add left. So as you see here, the float is left, and here we have to make it left. So the elements will not float to the left side. So here we get a normal flow position. So this is the purpose of clear property in CSS. Thank you.